Welcome to African Spiritual Resistance, where we explore African spirituality, its history,
and its use in liberation through the African diaspora
yesterday,
today,
and tomorrow.
and tomorrow.
All right, this is the Ifa, spookism and Ifa as practiced in the diaspora episode. All right. Me and the wife were talking. She said she wanted to, deal with this subject, and it needs to be dealt with. Spookism and Ifa in the diaspora. There's some misconceptions, and it's not just the diaspora. There's some misconceptions in Ifa throughout the world, including on the continent itself. Okay, so I want to clear up some things. Number one, to explain what is spookism. Okay, spookism is a term made popular by the Nation of Islam. Don't know if they created the term, but it was made popular by the Nation of Islam and its offshoots, like the 5% Nation. It's a narrative that the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are rational and scientific. That's the narrative. The teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are rational and scientific, while the opposite of that, like Christianity, is spooky. Okay, so spookism is the following of beliefs that are irrational and unscientific. However, what is rational and what is scientific are based on one's opinions, truths, not facts. There are people who can give you a rational scientific argument about the earth being flat. What facts can be used to defeat this truth? More truths, which is opinion. Then you haven't debunked anything. Everyone is just spitting opinions at each other. Okay. It's experience that trumps opinion. Experience is applied science. It is evidence worked, used, lived. I'll say that again. Experience is applied science. It is evidence worked, used, lived. Okay. There are multiple easy tests you can perform at your house to prove that the earth is indeed round. And it's applied. You apply it, right? Here's one. Watch a lunar eclipse. At least once every few years, you can see a lunar eclipse from your backyard. The lunar eclipse occurs when the earth is directly between the sun and the moon. This positioning causes the earth to cast a shadow onto the moon. In a total lunar eclipse, the earth's shadow completely covers the moon. This shadow darkens the moon's surface. The shape of the earth's shadow on the moon during lunar eclipse is always spherical. Okay? This is because the earth is a sphere and spherical objects cast a round shadow. Don't have time to wait for a doggone lunar eclipse? Try it with a dark room, a flashlight, and an orange or a ball. You'll have a tough time getting a non-spherical shadow out of that ball. Now try the same thing with a dinner plate. It's round, but it's flat. You'll notice that it is much easier to make shadows that are shapes other than round. If the earth was flat and shaped like the dinner plate, the earth's shadow during a lunar eclipse would often be one of these non-round shapes, but it's always round. Okay, it could be oval or even just a thick line. This ain't never happened, y'all. It never happened. So saying something is spooky just because you feel it is, with no experiential evidence, is also spooky. Everybody's just spooking out. So you trying to argue the point, I don't feel that's right. I remember I posted on Facebook about the brain. The brain's not a muscle. It's not. No muscle on the human body is encased in bone. No muscle is encased in bone. Muscle is on top of bone. It's never encased in bone. But the brain is encased in bone. That's one sign. The brain is not a muscle. It doesn't have the same function as muscles. Muscles functions are to move the skeleton, the brain. It makes you move because it makes you conscious, but it's connected to your nerves. But it's not a muscle. So a person gets on there and they say, "I feel it is a muscle." I said, "This fool." But before I could say anything, Kalonji jumped in. He said, "We don't give a damn what you feel." He said, "Balogun is telling you it's not a muscle. You talking about you feel it's a muscle? That's the damn problem. We don't give a damn what you feel." I said, yes. That was like almost 100% of what I was going to say. Damn what you feel. When you're dealing, if you're up against facts, okay, you can't, I feel this, but you have no evidence. You have no experience. You have not studied nothing, but you feel and you think that's enough. You're a fool. So shut up. That's my theme every week. Shut up. Like, damn, so, and I don't mean to break on y'all like that, but you make yourself sound like a fool. At least I want to inspire you. Study. Anything we say here, study. And come at us with evidence, so then maybe you'll whoop us, and we take that whooping, and I love it. I love it because I learned something then. But you just come with emotion, you're just wasting my time. You're just wasting my time. Like if somebody wanted to knuckle up with me and they can't fight, they want to knuckle out and knock their ass out. They wasted my time. Make me break a sweat at least. So don't waste people's time. Don't waste their intellectual time. Because we can't get that shit back. Come with it. Spank us. We learn something. We're better for it. Now our time wasn't wasted. And yours wasn't wasted because you gave us a good ass whooping that obviously we deserve.
So we intend to bring you evidence of spookism based on our experiences of living Ifa for the past 2 decades. We'll start off with something simple that has spread throughout the so-called conscious community. Number one, give thanks. We all heard it. I used to work at a store years ago, and everybody at the store would say, "Give thanks, give thanks." You bagging their groceries, give thanks. So somebody does something for you, instead of saying thank you, they say give thanks. But saying thank you, thanks, modupe, essay, those are all Yoruba terms for thank you. And you say, these people say give thanks. It makes no sense unless maybe you say I give thanks, and it still sounds pretentious at its best. Saying give thanks comes directly from an Oduifa that's being misunderstood. And that Oduifa is called Ose Omolu, which is Ose Ogunda. And here is the verse in Yoruba. Orumula Niko Sope, Moka Sope, Kasope, Kasope, Wani Ki Omo, Eku Osope, Omo Eku ni Nitori Kini. Orumula ni Nitori Jeji, Ati Mumi Ofe, Omo Eku ni Oni Sope, Eku ni Reni Pawon Omo Eku. Orumula says, let's be thankful. They asked the rats to be thankful. The rats asked why.
There's a part before that is where it comes from, the mistake.
Okay,
I
I say give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. They asked the rats to be thankful. The rats asked why. Orumila responded that it was because of gratuitous feeding and drinking. The rat said, there is no need to be thankful. The consequences of this ingratitude leads to the death of the rats. Orumila said, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. He did not say, give thanks. Unfortunately, somebody got the hold of this Odu and misread that. And it sounded so deep to these people, they ran with it. And here, that is important not to just run. You go to your elders, you ask, what does this mean? How do we, you know, if we don't know what it means, how does this thing refer to today? You know, and that's how spookism begins.
So, Arumla said, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. He's telling you, give thanks. When he does it in triple, we said last week, anything you've done in triple is actualized, right? So you give thanks. Your thanks becomes more meaningful. That's what he's saying. Give it with uh, emphasis. Be emphatically thankful, right? Not telling you to say, give thanks.
Like I'm doing something for you, Balogun. You saying give thanks. Like
right. Give thanks.
Like
that's almost like I'm ordering you to give thanks.
Right.
That is,
right, exactly.
So it makes no sense. That's spooky as hell. And you say, well, and most people they don't even know it came from the Odu. They don't know where it came from.
They just jump on the bandwagon.
Right. That's another thing. Just jumping on shit. Tariq Nasheed said, that hashtag Ogun, woman whooping her child. Hashtag Ogun. People in the thing. She Ogunin. She Ogun. You sound like a goddamn fool. Spanking somebody's ass got nothing to do with somebody being with Ogun. Whooping somebody's ass got something to do with Ogun. But spanking a child, they ain't got nothing to do with Ogun. I'm not even talking about whether spanking a child's right or wrong. I'm saying that, she Ogunin, hashtag Ogun. You're wrong. You're wrong. I don't care that it came from Tariq Nasheed. I don't care it came from Jesus Christ. I don't care if it came from one of my children. I don't care if it came from my mama. It still would be wrong. The wrong use of what Ogun is and who Ogun is. And when we deal with the Orisha and we get to Ogun, you understand how ridiculous that sounds. So don't just run with stuff just because you heard it. Research it. Even here, the things you hear, research it. And we're going to deal with books you can study and things of that nature in an episode soon. So you have a reading list. Okay. Running with a title. It's another thing. Running. Still running. We're running with that thing. Running, right? Running. She's a track star. Running with a title without any training is spooky as hell. You go to Yoruba land, get initiated to Ifa, get divination, and Ifa tells you that you are supposed to be an Araba or an Aba, which is a king. People say Oba. The title is Aba. It's O with your mouth open. Aba. Like that. A king. You fly back home. They tell you that on Thursday. You fly back home to Montgomery, Alabama, or LA, or Chicago, or wherever on Friday. And you pronounce you are King of America. Or Araba, which is the basically king of priests. Or Rabbi of Montgomery. Or some other dumb shit. You just got initiated Thursday, and then Friday, you're the king of the United States. You're tripping.
And by the way, this happens.
Yeah. Now this is real. This is no exaggeration. This has happened, y'all. It's going on right now. The first law of the 16 laws of Ifa warns: do not call a suru, a type of yam, a shuru, the sacred stories, which means do not say what you do not know. If you just got initiated, you don't have the knowledge to call yourself an Araba or an Abba. You don't have that knowledge. The second law warns, Do not call away the sacred stories airway, which means do not do things that you do not have the basic knowledge of. Basically, no false flagging. No false flagging, y'all. In my book, the African Warriors Bible, I took the FTP laws, basically, which have been taken, and used by for RBG laws. It was created by Kalani. It's FTP laws. It says no false flagging. But growing up in Chicago, you false flag, you live in the Vice Lord neighborhood, you claim to be a Vice Lord, and somebody challenges you, spit the literature, and you can't spit the literature, you might get your ass whooped. You might get shot in the thigh, the fat meat of your thigh, because you violated. So they treat you like a Vice Lord, and we're going to shoot you in the fat meat of your thigh because you claim to be something you're not. Okay. So don't false flag. Don't claim to be what you're not. Don't claim to know what you don't know.
And also, if you are initiated, here in the U.S., it's unfortunate in the sense that, we are behind times. Because in Nigeria or in Africa, in certain parts, you learn about Ifa. You go through the whole full process, and
As
then
a child.
a child up to an adult, and so you know everything. You by the time you initiate, you are an actual Babalawo, or you can divine on your own, Yanifa. So here in the U.S., they are, they call us Yanifa or Babalawo. But we're kind of behind because it's like we're going to get initiated first and then we're learning. So because of that, a lot of people are misconstrued about the idea of, oh, I'm a Babalao, oh, I'm a Yanifa. No, you're Awo.
And whatever your title, Awo means mystery, right? So you're learning the mysteries of Ifa. Whatever your title is, too, live up to it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work,
So if you're an Awo and you don't know the 16 Odu signatures at least, if you know 16 Odu signatures, you know the rest of them. Because all the Odu are a combination of those first 16. You are neglecting yourself.
And some people are not destined to be a Babalao or Yanifa.
They're not, but they still are an Awo, so they should at least know the thing. You're part of something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that even if they just, you don't come back with that same type of attitude, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're just a person that went for initiation,
right.
And maybe you needed help you needed protection, maybe you needed good health, different things. They don't necessarily mean that you're going to be doing the work of an actual priest. It's not an easy job. So just keep that in mind as you're going about your life,
And don't be so arrogant that because you got initiated, because you might not know a goddamn thing. Like I said, there are people who don't, they can't tell you the first four Odu. They can't recognize any of the signatures. So, and that's not breaking on you. I know some folks that I love like that, right? Study though. And if you are arrogant, I'm this, I'm that, remember you don't even know the first four Odu while you talking about you this and that. So chill yourself out.
Also,
chill yourself out.
One important thing, I have a shop, a botanical store in Riverdale, and I have a lot of, people that practice Ifa or learn about Ifa, and they may have their Ifa, which is one hand of Ifa. And a lot of those people don't even know their Odu Ifa. That's the basics. You need to know what is your life.
Yeah, because it's you.
That's you.
We know some people initiated to Ifa. They don't just have one hand of Ifa, and they don't know their Odu. That is sad.
So those are basic things that you must know. You should be able to say, oh, you want to come to my shop, you want to get something that is very spiritual. That's the least you should know. I should be able to say, oh, what should Ifa do? And you should be able to tell me, so that way I know that you are what you say you are. If you can't tell me, then I need to tell you to go back to your godfather and find out from your godfather, or go back to your notes and check your notes to find out. That's important,
True.
extremely important.
And let's watch how we move. You know, I was at my wife's shop. Guy's in there. He's a Babala, I guess. Iyalogun vouch for him, so I'll accept it. But our day walks in, our son, who is initiated, and he go snaps his fingers, salute, salute. I said, no, no, son, you do not. You do not. This is right in. She's right here. She'll tell you. I said, you don't let no fool tell you, snap his finger and tell you to salute. You don't even know him. You don't know what he knows. And you don't let somebody treat you like that. It don't matter if you never study a word of Ifa. You don't let nobody snap their fingers and tell you to bow down. So let's watch ourselves, because it's the least trained that are the most arrogant. You got some trained, arrogant cats out here now, men and women. But the least trained, they got a little bit, they got initiated, and that's it. They be so arrogant sometimes. And you be like, I was at Renoko Rashidi's event once, and a sister grabs my wrist, and she looks, you have your E-Day on your right hand? I said, get your ass away from me. I don't care what how long she's been studying. I don't care what her rank is. You don't put your hands on me. You're lucky you're a woman, otherwise I'd have knocked the teeth out your mouth. Get your ass away from me. She looks shocked and gets away from me. I wouldn't initiate it then. It wouldn't matter to me. You have to treat people with respect. Because you got initiated, because that's spooky as shit. I'm initiated. I can grab him and do whatever. No, not me. You done spooked out. You're lucky I didn't snap your shoulder.
Hey, what happened to our comments?
Okay, so now my wife said, what happened to our comments? And you all can comment, I guess, in the live thing. I don't know. We never get the comments in. Well, we do get the comments in there. Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. I guess they listen and they learning there, because normally they are saying things in there. No, dear. No, that's not. You about to jack something up. No. It's okay. So y'all can be free to ask questions on this too. So like I said, just don't false flag and don't carry yourself in a way that's other than a person of respect. The master blacksmith in one town is the student blacksmith in another. You may be a master here, but over here you know nothing. So don't be so arrogant. Shit, I'm a master martial artist. I've been doing 50 years. And I'm good at what I do. But don't ask me to bake you a goddamn birthday cake. That shit gonna taste terrible. And I know martial artists who think they can do everything. That's called false omniscience. You think you know everything because you do martial arts? Same with Ifa. You don't know everything. That's why you have people who specialize in Ifa. You got people who midwife. You got people who do this. The herbologists. Everybody's not that. Don't go to a Babylon thinking they can make you herbs that you need, and they arrogant and they gonna admit they can't make you those herbs, and they're jacking you up. You taking herbs from them and it ain't working, and you saying Ifa don't work. Ifa works. They don't work because they're not skilled in that thing.
And that's one thing that people have to be careful of too. They blame it on Ifa. Ifa is Ifa gives you a solution. So if Ifa is giving you a solution and somebody is saying another thing, it's not Ifa. Ifa is helping us. So don't blame
system.
Don't blame Ifa for
it's
that.
A system. How you blaming a system?
It's up to the priest, if they don't know, to go and seek knowledge. I know
that
I'm not the most knowledgeable person, but I do have some backup. I do have my teachers that I can go to and say, Baba, I have a client that have this situation going on. How do I help this person?
Right.
And go from there. So this next one is, to me, is extremely important because I've heard many women speak on it. And sisters, your monthly cycle is not a sign of dirtiness. or something forbidding, like some folks in Ifa may say, or random people may say. A woman can pray and touch her Ifa when on her cycle. There are some medicines that a woman can't touch when menstruating simply because medicine comprised of leaves, energy, and words, incantation, can be rendered powerless by our powers at that time. So when you're on your Ashe, you there's a powerful you in the form you're powerful at that time. And so by touching these herbs, by touching different charms and things like that, can render those things ineffective. So that doesn't have anything to do with your Ifa. In Iworo Sa, Ifa says, Ina papa lo bale lo mororo. Adifa fun orun dojo. Omidan. Àwọn ẹlẹ́yẹ tí wọn ò sún, tí wọn ò bèjì ní ìtàn wọn. Ẹbọ wọn ní kò wá sí owó ẹ̀jẹ̀ kó owó ẹ̀jẹ̀ kan. Táwa ń ṣe lọ sú yìí, Ifá jẹ́ ọdọmọ. Fire clears dry bush completely. Cast Ifa for 92 women. When they slept and they woke up to the sight of blood on their thighs, they were advised to offer Ebo, which is sacrifice. The ministry blood that we have seen this month. Ifa, please let it turn into childbearing for us. The women were hopeful that the outcome of the blood would be fruitful, not ashamed. So that is just to let us know it's not a bad thing. It's not a shameful thing that we are having a cycle, but it's necessary. And even I've heard even the Araba, talk to women because a lot of women was concerned, like, oh, can I go to my Ifa, during my uh, cycle? And he says yes. You can go to your Ifa on your cycle. It's not going to diminish the power of your Ifa. So that's important to note.
Now, where does this shame and particular spooky belief come from? When the British left Nigeria in 1960, they financed a Christian assault on Egbe Iyami. Egbe is society. Iyami are women, society of women, and women who have great power. Okay, the guardians of, and it's not witches. Stop that too. That's a witches is a Western concept. They financed a Christian assault on Egbe Iyami. The guardians of Iwakbele, or good character in the culture. So the Iyami are the guardians of Iwakbele. Okay, they make sure you don't shake your ass in the backyard. Okay, as they say. As long as good character was strong in a given community, the efforts by England to steal the natural resources of the country were inhibited. As long as good character was strong in a given community, the efforts by England to steal the natural resources of the country were inhibited. Nigeria has the highest grade of oil in the world. You can pump it from the ground to your car without processing. And the British wanted it. In fact, British Special Forces helped stage a coup in Nigeria and place a general in charge who would suppress the production of oil by Nigerians. You make women feel ashamed, dirty, or even evil because she menstruates, and you have forced women's silence and taken away her agency. So they need to do that so they can steal this oil. Eventually, though, the owner of Ile Ife put a stop to the attack on Iyami. The Oni is like the king / spiritual head in Ile Ife. It's like, yeah, he's an emperor, really. Okay, if the empire of the Yoruba was still in existence. There is no Odu, by the way, that speaks of how menstrual blood is used. There are lots of Odu, however, that speak about women coming together to raise power. So if you're keeping women from your rituals, or denying them initiation and using menstruation as the excuse, you're spooky as hell, you're wrong, and you support white supremacy. You're spooky as hell, you're wrong, and you support white supremacy. There are traditions, so-called, that tell women, no, you can't, because you menstruate, you can't take care of the people that need you all the time, so you can't be a Ifa priest. Get your ass out of here. Get out of here. So,
I mean, there are times where you can't cook or do certain things when you're in your cycle, but that has nothing to do with taking care of your own Ifa.
exactly. And stop relegating women to just being waitresses and cooks for parties, Ifa parties and shit. I can't stand that. That's all the women doing. You don't hear, they ain't doing nothing. You don't hear nothing spiritual from them. You don't hear their opinions. They just cooking and waitressing. What would you like to eat? Get out of here. These sisters were trying to, argue a point with me, but their Babalao has them dancing in short skirts, and then he puts money in their waistbands. I said, oh, so y'all strippers. Y'all strippers for the Babalao, huh? That's what strippers do when you go to the strip club. You put it in their little, waistband, little money, or you make it rain. If you got like that, or you're a dummy, you just wasting your check on this chick who you ain't never, you ain't marrying her, and then you wasting your money on her. But you stick, $1 in her bikini band or in her garter or something, and then she dance in front of you, and you feel like she love you. She don't give a shit about you. You feel like she love you because she wants you to give her more than $1. You give 10, she really dance for you. You give her $100. Oh boy, let's go back to VIP, right?
There is.
So now, my point is that's they doing that. That's what this priest was doing.
I know, but they may be doing it wrong. There is a way that you
dash a person with money.
Yes, like when you have drummers, they do kind of take money and give it to you.
Put it on your head, it fall off on the ground, and people pick it up for you. But they're not putting it in that drummer's waistband. They're not doing that. They're not putting it in the drummer's waistband, but they put in these sisters' waistband. They were proud, like they're doing something. Get your ass out of here, man. Your priest was using y'all. Yeah.
They take the money, they put it on
right, like that. That's called dashing. So happy to catch you live. I appreciate your show. Thank you. Honor and respect. Much honor and respect to you all. So that is the myths. When we deal with the myths, we want to go deeper into the myths and just saying this is a myth, right? What's the origin of that myth? What's the effects of that myth? So we dealt with 3 today, and we'll do a part 2 maybe next week, maybe the week after, something like that. Could not 6. Because some of the things are so ridiculous. And then some stuff, because it gets spooky, right? If you're not careful. Some stuff the Odu say, but people don't realize. I'm talking about people who teaching this. They don't realize these are metaphors. So there are people who teach because they grew up in the Christian church, and the Christian church takes the Bible literal, yes. Right? And a lot of people, when they respect you, they take what you say literal. So you got to be careful and explain to them sometimes that this isn't literal. If you know, so I told you my student Akimbobola would drive, and he says, "I got a question." Baba, now he's initiated now.
Was he there?
He wasn't there, no.
Okay.
He says, what's this thing with if I come to earth on the chain? And what he really wanted to say, and I said, you wonder, that's a big ass chain, right? To come from the heavens to the earth on the chain. I said, number one, there's no heaven in the sky. That's Christian thinking. It makes no sense. I've been in planes that have flown up over 10,000 feet, and we ain't hit heaven yet. You go any higher, you might bump into one of them buildings in the heavens. Don't go no higher. Knock down a skyscraper or something. You can go as high as you want. You're not going to see nothing in the sky like that. It's not talking about that. Heaven is the world that's unseen. It's right here with us right now. So it's not, in the sky. I mean, as far as their sky, but in the heavens, but not like it's positioned there, right? I said, so that's number one. And so when you're talking about a chain, it's talking about the double helix of our DNA. The amazing thing ain't the chain, brother. It's the fact those people knew that DNA was a double helix without having a microscope. That's the amazing thing that we should be keying on. How did they know that? Right? So
without the technology.
Right. So certain things, but people teach on that. I remember one time there's old dude about Ogun sleeping with Yemo, who is the wife of Obatala. And the dude talks about his mother and father. Well, one, Ogun is iron. Iron ain't got a mother and father biologically. So it's not talking about Ogun, the force of nature. It's talking about a human being who possesses the traits of Ogun, okay? Sleeps with his mother, which is gross. Well, this one brother who is, looking at shit literally, runs to this priest and tells him, the priest, oh, no, that's got to be wrong, so-and-so. I say, it's in there. But he's unstudied. He's a priest, but he's unstudied. So he wasn't even fit to answer the question. At the time, I wasn't initiated, so I couldn't argue. I wouldn't argue the point. I could have argued the point. I wouldn't argue the point. I just kept it in my head. And I told that brother, I said, you ran like a little bitch to him. Like you telling on me or something. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. It's in the old dude. But instead of sitting and reading it, you could have asked me to show you. You go and run to somebody you know ain't studied. So it talks about he sleeps with his mother. All right. That's not the force of nature called Ogun. That is a person with those traits. The traits of Ogun is talking about them. A lot of times divination come to say, you're a king. And there are African kings who are women, but person doesn't know that. No, woman say, how am I king? How am I? Because they don't understand. Or they say, the giraffe is so-and-so. Giraffe? What that mean? I'm not a giraffe. Oh, Lord. It's metaphor, y'all.
Yes, metaphors.
And so these misconstructions come about when you are looking at metaphor, poetic language as literal.
Yeah. So if I may be telling a person that the person is destined to be in a leadership position, if you are a king, in a sense, in the U.S. we don't have kings. We know that, but the person may be destined to be a king. And what he finds telling the person is that, okay, you're supposed to be the head of your business. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be the head of something. So that makes you a king. People come to you, oh, how can I help you? How can I do this? A rapper or a star, in a sense, is a form of a king. People come to
Celebrity wouldn't get a bunch of people listening to you, and they're influential.
Yes. So, you have to understand. And if you don't understand, ask the priest. If they're not answering that for you, then you need to find someone else to help you out. But that's important, because a lot of people get it mixed up, and it's really simple.
And when a person, I'm Ogun. Every dude wants to Ogun. That's the danger of saying every man's a warrior. No. And that gets on my nerve because I am a warrior. No. But so they'll say, okay, that's the misconstruction too. You're misconstruing that. Ogun is male, but that Odu, once again, is talking about you, whether you're a woman or a man sitting there,
Right.
child, whatever you are. But I'm a man, or a woman say, well, I'm not going to a man. I'm Ogun. Why is it talking about Arshun? Why are you talking about Arshun? I'm a man. Like, are you serious? There are men. We know Arshun Kunle. We know Arshun Kunle is a man, and he's not a soft, feminine acting man either. So stop that ridiculousness. There are men who are Yemunja priests. There's a couple that got into it at divine form. I'm Ogun. I'm Ogun. No. His wife is Ogun, and he's Arshun. And that's okay. They ain't got nothing to do with you acting tough or acting feminine, or it ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
My wife is Ogun too. They ain't got nothing to do with how you're acting. And we talked about that last week, is who you're leaning on, and what force of nature has you have an affinity for, and you have those traits. Okay. So that's that. It's a lot of misconstrued understanding that people deal with in anything, and those who are study, it's our job to clear that up.
One other thing that's misconstrued, there are times where there's a lot of people that come to Ifa about their relationship. Oh, is this the right person? And Ifa may tell the person, yes, this is your destined wife. And what I try to do, I try to explain to the client, like, look, Ifa says this is your destined wife, or this is your destined husband. At the same time, you and the person or have to come to an understanding. You have to know, okay, if you want to be with her and she want to be with you, you all have to work to make it happen. It's not so simple. It's not just like, oh, it's magic. No, you still have to work. In every marriage, in every relationship, you have to work. It's the longest initiation, or
right.
longest.
It lasts forever until you are not together no more.
Ongoing. You can't just say, oh, the first time.
As long as rite of passage.
Yeah, as long as passage right. Exactly. That you're gonna be in. And you can't now blame me for, this relationship not working. Okay, well, did you follow the advice that Ifa tell you? Ifa may have told you not to fight when it comes to your relationship. Ifa is telling you to take light, listen to your partner. Are you doing everything that's necessary for your relationship to work? Don't blame Ifa if your relationship don't work.
Ifa's not, you saying Ifa's not working, you're not doing the work.
Yes, you have to do the work.
Also on that, don't think too, you can just get spiritual work done and not work on yourself. I know a sister, she got work. Oh my God, she was getting divinations like twice a week. Crazy. But she's doing that, but doing all this, doing low down shit. But she's doing work, thinking that's gonna make it where it's gonna turn out all right, and the people gonna be all right with it. And my person wanted to slap taste out of them out. You think because you're doing some work, people have Ori. You think you insult a person, you do some work, and now your relationship okay with them. Y'all gonna be cool. Y'all gonna be even though you an asshole. No. And if I tell you, don't treat people wrong, no. You go and do it anyway because your Ori can do what it's gonna do, and it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Right? That's the strongest thing in the world. Your head. Well, it ain't just yours, it's theirs too. Yes. So I treat a person wrong, I think I do some work to make it better, as opposed to doing work and talking to them and making atonement. And now they hate my guts. See? So we got to do better in the way we think, man.
And treat one another.
And right. That's the number one thing. Treat people well. Treat yourself well. Study is a form of treating yourself well, because the worst thing is when you make a fool of yourself because you're not studied. That's the worst thing. And then you get emotional. And if that person stays calm, who just made a fool of you, and you get emotional, they stay calm, and they just keep on just making a fool out of you, you'll lose your gourd. And they walk away with a smile on their face because they just whooped your ass without raising a hand. So study. Study anything that you're involved in. Study what you hear, right? All throughout Black Power Media. I listen to Black Power Media all day.
All day.
and I'm taking notes, I'm studying. I say, oh, that was, wait, hold on. And I go back and I got to research that. I remember watching a show and watching Earn Your Liberation. They were talking about, punching, and they were talking about, punching to the kidney, punch to the kidney, punch to the kidney. And they were like, is that illegal in boxing? No, you punch to the kidney, it's just devastating, drop you to your knees. They were talking about punching to the liver. And so I commented, and punch to the liver. And they said, oh, thanks, Balogun. They were talking about punching to the lip. So when I listen to the thing, I listen close. I listen as I work. And I hear a thing, I stop. Let me play it again. Oh, okay, let me go research that. Jared, I always give, the books. This came from this book or this article. I'm researching it, right? Have that kind of, love yourself like that. So not just a slave to other people saying whatever. Research. Okay. It is truly a learning channel. Yes, Eugene, Black Power Media is a learning channel. And I always tell people it's like no other channel I've seen. Other channels try to do it. I haven't, and thank you, Desiree. Yes, she's a beautiful baby. I always say, we start our Warrior Class merch next week, right? We have our Warrior Class merch. And you'll see there's an orange circle around our logo. Why did I choose orange? Because do your best. Try to find a word that rhymes with orange. Do your best. Find another channel or another, especially class that deals with martial arts, self-defense, survival, the way we do. You're not going to find it, just like you're not going to find a rhyming word for orange. That's why I chose orange. That's what that means. And so now you know it. So people ain't want. They chose orange because orange represents the sun on Thursday. No. I told you what it means, right? So just know what things mean. We try to give you what things. Now, I remember once a priest was talking to me, your Ori, so and so, you got to feed your Ori. I'm like, where's my Ori? I didn't know what the hell it meant. So I learned, after I learned that, what it was, and you should ask the person if you don't know, which is what I did. What is Ori? And they told me, well, always, your Ori such and such. Your Ori says, and hopefully they're catching it. Hopefully they don't think I just got like an itchy head or something. Your Ori says so-and-so, right? I've never had somebody come back and ask me, well, what is that? It seems they understand that, right? If you're talking about the Okan, the heart, Okan is weak. You got to strengthen your Okan. A lot of people don't deal with that, with the Okan, right? So these things you got to know. Black Power, Sun Temple. Black Power. And yes, there's nothing like it, Eugene. I love being on the channel. That's why we wanted to bring African spiritual resistance here as well. Are there any questions? Any question? For some reason, at first, it wasn't showing the comments, or maybe people just being quiet. I don't know. Because once we got to the end of what we were talking about, the myths, then people chimed in. So maybe they're just, listening in. But if you have any questions, you can always post them in the comments. You can ask here. The heart and mind are connected. Absolutely. Well, because the mind is connected to everything as far as in our body, right? When a child is born, when they're developing in the womb draws in matter, and when the sperm hits the egg, okay, it begins to spin. It draws matter in upon itself. And when it has enough matter, it develops first the heart. And then nerves branch out to that, and it creates brain. And then from that, it begins to create limbs and organs and all that good stuff, right? That's how the universe came into existence too. We are a reflection of the universe, right? But that was dealing with the heart and the mind. Really, the mind is the heart and the brain. The people say my mind, the mind isn't just here. We talked about that. It's the brain, it's the immune system. So it's more than one thing. It's the nervous system, right? So brain, nervous system, immune system. That's when you talk about the mind. Because if any of those things aren't well, the mind's not well. The mind's not well. Take care of your immune system.
Yes.
COVID's still jumping on folks out here. Be careful. Be careful.
If you got COVID, you definitely in bed.
I had it. Students thought I was about to leave here, but I'm still here. Do you believe that we black men and women in America should organize and move back to the continent of Africa? I believe we should organize. We have a right to Africa. We have a right to here because we built this mug. Yeah. So we have a right to both. I would say I would go to, everybody should go to Africa.
Yes.
And you should stay there for a length of time if you can. A lot of people can't take Africa because it doesn't have the amenities that's here.
I agree with Balogun. I definitely think we should. I believe we should have a place in Africa and have a place here. And the reason why I say we should have a place in Africa is because it's different from here. The difference is that when you have a place in Africa, most places in Africa, you don't have to pay no taxes. Once you buy your property, you build your land, that is your land. It is passed down from generation to generation. Here in the U.S., it is not the same. We all know you buy a property, you're going to pay taxes. And if you don't pay them taxes, it is no longer your property. They can sell it. But in Africa, it is not like that. You own your property once it's paid. Although you should be careful because you need to make sure you trust whoever. A friend of mine was telling me, or a client was telling me, they went to Ghana, and a friend of theirs went to Ghana and purchased property in Ghana, built a huge house on the property. Turns out the property was not that person's to sell. So the person that actually owned the property now is like, look, I got to take my property back unless you pay. So this person now has to pay a second time for that property because what are you going to do with the house? Mm-hmm. The person don't own the house, but he owned the land. Right. So always be cautious and careful and know who you're dealing with to avoid anything like that. And one other thing that can happen, one thing that I would suggest is that you do get a reading if you're going to do something like that. Because if I would tell you, okay, this property that you're going to buy, you need to be careful because you may run into some problems. And you need to make sacrifices. Sacrifice either to avert the problem or don't buy the property at all.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind when it comes to that. But yes, buy there, buy here.
Yes.
But we, like Balogun was saying, we definitely need to organize.
Right. We need to organize here. If you're saying should we organize and a group of us move back to Africa, uh, yes. And if we do that, let's be careful that we are not like when we went back to Liberia and we began to oppress the people in Liberia. So people shouldn't go without uh, political education. That's what we should organize, have political education classes. Those who want to go back to Africa, let's do it intelligently. Let's do it in conjunction with people who've already gone back.
Yes.
And then, yes.
I mean, it's beautiful. A lot of people think that Africa is just like dirt land, like how it was in the 30s and 40s here. They have that. They also have, just like here in the U.S., we got outhouses and dirt land and all that stuff in different parts of Georgia, different parts of different states. We got that. But you also got, if you go to Buckhead in Atlanta or you go to New York, you got that too in
You got
Africa.
go to Lagos,
You go to Lagos.
Lagos Island.
South Africa is beautiful.
You go
Like,
to
don't just go by the commercials and all that
Accra,
stuff.
Ghana.
Beautiful. Like, take advantage of the money that you have right now, because the money that you have for now is a little bit more than what it is in these countries. So once you convert your money over, if you had, $10,000, you can buy 2 or 3 plots of land once you convert the money over. So, I mean, it would be smart too.
Yeah. Black Power Media is political education. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Thank you, brother and sister. And yes, my friends from Senegal, Africa, they have land in Africa and they do not pay taxes on it. Right.
Yeah. That land, they pass it right down to their children. And they ain't got to add nothing.
Or they can add on they want to. They can build on that property.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? All right, you all. Thank you all so much for joining us again this week.
Yes, thank you all so much. Many blessings to you all. Success and prosperity.
Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Long life to you all. And we will see you next week.
Blessings.
Peace.
Peace.
You have an amazing day too, Desiree.
Yes.
Thank you, Eugene.